what was your relationship like with food and your body and your overall sort of situation before we started working together?
Well, I think that by the time I got to you, I was really at my wit's end because I had been dieting for many, 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 many years and all different types. And I was always battling. So I was battling with hunger. I was battling with cravings. I was like, should I eat? What's good? What's bad? What's naughty? What's healthy? How can I cheat the system? Like, how can I eat the maximum amount of stuff for the lowest value of whether it was points or sins or whatever diet I was doing? And it was actually very overwhelming. I was thinking about it a lot of the day. And I kind of felt like I was never winning. And that's how it felt. It felt like it was like a fight or a game. And yeah, and I really wasn't in tune with what my body needed. I just was really, really focused on the scales and losing and losing and losing. And if I didn't lose, then, I beat myself up over that. And it became really also about like, a measure of, well, this clearly must be an issue with me, meaning I clearly don't have the willpower because if I had the willpower, then I'd be able to just approach food the way everybody I look at approaches food, just as a functional part of life. So it was like a lot of self kind of deprecation about that and
Mm.
judgmental, kind of a judging feeling that I was doing to myself that I would never do to anyone else. So yeah, I kind of came to a point and I couldn't do it anymore. There was just too much anxiety wrapped up in food choices and you need to eat, right? You can't run away from it. So I needed to just kind of take the matter in hand and figure out like how can I make this workable for the rest of my life?
Yeah, yeah. So, and at the point when you reached out for help, did you have many reservations about sort of doing something completely different?
So I wasn't clear that what we would do would be completely different. So I kind of entered thinking, okay, maybe I just need like some more personalized attention. So that's where I was coming from. I didn't know that what we would do would be so vastly different. But in our first session, which I think was scheduled for 90 minutes, at about 75 minutes, I think I stopped and I was like, listen, Marcel, my anxiety is really high right now because you haven't told me what I'm going to eat and not eat. And I'm like, I don't know what the rules are. And then when you said, well, there aren't going to be any rules, we're going to talk about some guidelines. We're going to talk about what your body needs. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've just signed up for this and I'm not going to be able to do this. I said to my husband, like, how am I going to do this? And he's like, listen, like you've signed up. You said you liked her. You said you like felt connected. So just try the process. And when I told you I was super anxious about it, you're like, can you trust the process? Can you give this a go? And I thought, okay, like I've tried everything else, so let me give this a go. So really, when I signed up, I didn't know that it would be vastly different. That's the honest truth. But I'm really grateful that it was because it wasn't just the work of what I was putting into my mouth. It was the work of what thoughts are attached to all that? What values have I attached to all that? Um, and that's really what I needed to unpack, though I didn't quite realize it when we started our journey.
Yeah, and I think that is hard to get to that point. I think for many people that they realize that they almost need something different. And when you went through the process of working through the program, how did you find it? What did you sort of find the most helpful?
So when I was doing it, I think there were lots of moments where I thought, oh my goodness, I, am I crazy? Like I've really bought into all of this media and all of these diet. Like I didn't realize there was another way to think. So when I started the process of like, I remember one of the assignments was like, list your food rules. And I said to you, I don't have any rules. And you kind of, I could now in retrospect, I think, oh my God, you must like been like laughing inside or something because like everybody has rules, but they weren't at the front of my conscience. So I did have lots and lots of rules. So the more I like journaled and wrote about all the rules I had, the more I would actually sit and I was like crying. I thought, oh my goodness, like this is nuts. Like I've acquired like all these different rules from all these different diets that I've just kind of adapted that have steered my choices and have really taken over my life. So it was very eye-opening. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard to break a rule. And that was one of the things that we tried to do, was like, well, let's break that rule. Like what would happen if you had a cup of rice, right? Or what would happen if you ate till satiation but didn't measure your food? Those were things that were really new. And when I say that out loud, I hear that that sounds insane, that that's new. But everything, all those diet messages that have come through really started to just take over my thinking. So I needed to kind of realize it and uproot it, but I needed to replace it with something. And very soon into the program, my husband and my very close friend in New York said, you sound different. You sound calmer. And I felt calmer. I felt like, okay, I don't have to measure everything. It doesn't have to be a precise science. Some days I'll eat more than others. Like there was a certain sense of like calm that came with not having a rigid system, but relying on my body's needs and what my body was telling me. I actually remember at one point you said to me, like, how do you know when you're hungry? And I guess perhaps you were looking for like some kind of physical signal that I would tell you about. And all I could tell you is like, because I want to kill someone and I'm so angry. That's how I know I'm hungry. Because I had blocked out everything else. Like I wasn't listening to when I'm hungry. I was waiting for the next time to eat, because that's what the diet says, that it, if you space it out like this, and if you eat this much, then you should be able to get to the next juncture. So, so tuning in has been a very big game changer for me.
And what would you say, are there any other sort of real benefits that you noticed from changing your whole approach to eating?
Well, first of all, I was satiated, and that was a new feeling. I had never been satiated, even after leaving the table from a 3-course meal, because I had cut out all different things because of all the different rules, running through my head. I would leave that 3-course meal hungry. So A, being satiated, and B, because I was eating like whole foods and real meals, and not being afraid of things that I would have considered, no-go zones, like good fats. I'm full, but also I don't have the cravings. So I used to like get through a day to like 4 o'clock and I think, oh, I've done such a great job. I've eaten so clean. I've eaten so well. But then from 4 o'clock till 10 at night, it would be like picking, cups of cereal, half a cookie, half a piece of chocolate. I wouldn't even commit to that. But all those cravings were just so intense. So that ended. And then a surprising result that I had, which I can only correlate to this because this was the biggest change I'd made in my life, was that my premenstrual symptoms, they just stopped. I didn't even know that I was coming on, because everything just was normal. And in the past, that was a very intense time every month. So that's absolutely changed enormously. So I wasn't looking for that. I didn't know that could happen, but I can only assume that that's part of my kind of new regime of eating.
Amazing. And what would you say is your biggest sort of light bulb moment?
That I didn't have to live like that. That there was some level of punishment that I was inflicting on myself, and not realizing that it could feel different for me. I mean, I'd look around at other people and the way they approach food, and I'd look at that with envy, but I didn't think that was possible for me. So the fact that it was a huge, huge awakening. And the fact that I could like look at my body, my imperfectly healthy body, and say like, this is fine. Like that was also a revelation that, I'm going to be 50 shortly. I don't look like a supermodel, and I don't need to look like a supermodel. I've had some health issues and my body has begun to heal. So I need to celebrate that, and to stop chasing really something that is elusive and that perhaps that my worth was tied up in, which really doesn't make sense at all. When I say it out loud, I can't even believe that I'm saying what I'm saying, because it just sounds so crazy to have lived like that for such a long time.
What would you say to anyone who might be hesitating about doing that, the program with me, or working with me, or making those changes?
I would say it's important to give it a go. Like if you've given everything else a go till now, there's no reason not to give this a go. Um, it's just, it's not a diet. It's just getting into your headspace, adjusting your thought patterns, starting connect again with your body, and just to celebrate life, right? To be able to enjoy food with others, and not put so many parameters around everything. I would just say it's worth giving it a go.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. This has been a really it's been hard work, but it's been a really exciting journey, and I'm really grateful. So thank you so much, Marcel.
Oh, it's a pleasure.